Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alberta News and Views. Pierre Poilievre is absolutely crushing it tonight in Fredericton. Now, don't believe these polls. These polls are absolutely ridiculous. Believe what your eyes are seeing and what your ears are hearing. Pierre Poilievre just filled up like an airline hangar tonight. And Mark Carney filled up a small pub. Seriously. The media is going crazy over Mark Carney and his rallies filling up a pub. And they're just crickets on Pierre Poilievre filling up like an airline hangar. Seriously. Listen to this.
Be pulling his strings. My friends, this is not a way to change from the lost Liberal decade. Mark Carney will make it even worse. And just today, we saw evidence of that. Did you hear the story of this Liberal MP? It's incredible. The Chinese government puts out a bounty on the head of a Canadian citizen because he criticized China. And the Liberal candidate in the same riding as this Conservative candidate said that that people should turn him over to the Chinese government to send him back to China where he could be killed. On a bounty. And Mark Carney was asked what he thought, and he said he would keep that Liberal candidate in place. Of course he would. When you owe the Chinese government $250 million, it's pretty hard to stand up for Canada, isn't it? If this is the question, as we face the threats of trade tariffs from Trump, if Mark Carney will not stand up for a Canadian citizen whose life is threatened by a hostile foreign regime, will he ever stand up for Canada against the Americans?
No, he will not.
Of course not.
Pierre Poilievre, I think, really needs to stick with the corruption with Mark Carney and in this Liberal government, bring it all to the surface, all of it. The last 10 years of absolute corruption, bring that up and just throw it in Canadians' faces. Remind them of what this government has done to us the last 10 years and just hammer home the Chinese collusion. There is so much of it right now. Well, at the same time, talking about how terrible the economy is because of this government and how the tariffs are a direct result of the relationship of Justin Trudeau and Donald Trump. The respect was not there. This is how it all started. He needs to drop this Trump stuff. Who cares? He needs to focus on the corruption of this guy right here. Mark Carney said this is a teachable moment for us. Seriously.
Said they're terrible lapse of judgment. I view this as a teachable moment. It underscores the respect with which we treat human rights in this country.
He doesn't sound just like Justin Trudeau. He was teaching Justin Trudeau everything. Justin Trudeau sounds like Mark Carney. And now Mark Carney sounds like Mark Carney. Carnage Carney. This guy who was brought here to finish the job, to finish what Justin Trudeau could not do. That is it. And you know, there's a lot of funny business going on because nothing makes sense right now. Like the polls, like Doug Ford, everybody is just scatterbrained. Check this out. Doug Ford says, at midnight tonight, Canada is finally done with the federal carbon tax. No, it is still law. Parliament has been suspended and there is still the industrial carbon tax. Doug Ford says it's the worst tax ever. Now we need to see every cent of savings passed on to hardworking Canadians at the pumps. No, it won't happen. Canada is a monopoly. They know that they can still squeeze Canadians until we all stand up and say no and have Western independence. Moving on. Sam Cooper says, while Mark Carney looks away at potential complicity inside his own party, the United States government sanctions Hong Kong officials alleged to be responsible for interfering in our democracies with illegal bounties. Mark Carney, all of this corruption, this is why I'm saying Pierre Poilievre needs to focus on that. Because the United States is focused on it as well. And while all this collusion is happening in Canada, it is just reaffirming what Donald Trump is saying about Canada. And the reason for punishing us with tariffs is that China has infiltrated Canada. Donald Trump knows this. He would love Mark Carney to win this election and become prime minister, because then he can hammer him and he doesn't have to deal with them because he's under investigation. It's strategy. It's the way it is. Today, Jagmeet Singh says, "You didn't solve the housing crisis, you caused it." Seriously. Liberals put out a post says, "We solved the housing crisis before." We can solve a housing crisis again. It's time to build. Liberals promise to build nearly 500,000 homes per year and create new housing entity. Are you serious? The government's going to nationalize housing? It's going to be a disaster because it already is a disaster. And the guy, Jagmeet Singh, who is holding Canadians hostage, says, "You didn't solve the housing crisis, you caused it." Jagmeet Singh kept Justin Trudeau and this government, is literally called the Liberal NDP Party. He kept this government alive for years. He is the one that caused all of our problems. It all comes down to Jagmeet Singh holding Justin Trudeau in power for years. Jagmeet Singh is unbelievable. From Mark Nixon, pipeline bombshell. There's more. There's more carnage, Carney. Brookfield, where Mark Carney holds deep ties, is set to acquire Colonial Pipeline, the largest fuel pipeline in the United States. You really think Mark Carney will ever approve new pipelines in Canada? There's no way. Of course not. He's not here to compete with the United States. He's here to protect American interests. Another reason Donald Trump wants Mark Carney to win. Why do you think Donald Trump endorses Mark Carney? This is exactly why Canada's energy sector has been handcuffed for a decade, and which is why Alberta independence is always demonized. And did you know that if you go on Brookfield and dig deep in their files, it says that Mark Carney's resignation, all of this is temporary. Seriously. I have it. I'll post it sometime and talk about it. It's temporary because if he loses, he's going to go down to the United States or back to Britain and keep on doing business as usual. Last but not least, Canada's free healthcare is a disaster. And of course, it's not free. Only a moron thinks that Canada has free healthcare. Canada's median healthcare wait time hits 30 weeks, longest ever recorded. Your quality of life is in decline. Everything is in decline. Anybody that votes for a Liberal NDP right now cannot be helped and they can't be fixed. It is unbelievable what is going on right now in this country. All roads lead to Western independence. It is the only way to get out of this asylum. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.